Hello, this is a video detailing cleaning out a Plumb Centre magnetic filter. Plumb Centre is now called Worsley, but the filters are still called Centre CB system filters. So they clean out the water that comes back to the boiler from the radiators as it's pumped around the system. It came with this little spanner. So we are going to bypass in order to remove the filter. So we are turning it clockwise with the arrow pointing to bypass. So we want it bypassed before we start this work. On the top there, that's a bleed valve, a bit like on a radiator. So it just takes out any pressure that might have been built up. Even though we've isolated it, there could still be some pressure in there. Right, I try and remove it by hand. When tightening them filters up, generally they do just need to be hand tightened. On this occasion it was a little bit tight. I didn't have the spanner that came with the filter, so I had that belt strap in the van. Just managed to loosen it off. The filter will just pull away now, but as I'm doing it one-handed and I know this filter's pretty dirty, I don't want black filtered water going everywhere. I'm being a little bit cautious. You don't twist it, you just pull it towards yourself. I decide to take the drain valve off, the little cap that we can drain the filter from. Nothing's coming out just because the filter's horizontal, but it will be full of water. There we go. It did just help get it off, and it also helps me just tip the filter into the bucket and hopefully avoid getting any of the black liquid anywhere. A little bit on top of the boiler, but we've done pretty good there. So remember how it went on? We had the little bleed valve on the top and the drain valve on the bottom. That will help when refitting it. Right, the filter has a little plastic cover over the actual magnet. Normally, you just take the plastic cover off. The magnetite should be attached to that, and it's easy to clean. You shouldn't generally have to clean the magnet inside because it's had the cover on. On this occasion, and with this filter, it seems to be absolutely full of muck inside, and we're probably going to have to remove the magnet. So there's the little plastic cover. I'm going to give it another little rinse through after giving it a little wipe. This is how to remove the magnet. It's got just a little bolt on top, which we have to grip the body of the magnet and undo the nut stroke bolt, and there we have it. The magnet comes out. Magnet's got quite a bit of magnetite on, so generally you would hope that would have just been on the plastic cover and you didn't have to remove the magnet. On this occasion I've had to remove everything, but here we go. I've cleaned it all off. I've given it a good wipe with tissue. That's the magnet looking nice and clean. We've got the cover looking clean, and we've rinsed all of the body of the filter out. So this is how the magnet goes back in. You can see how as you turn the nut, the bolt, it turns the brass thread at the bottom, which basically goes into that hole in that. So we're just going to screw it back into the body of the filter, which I've done there. Now we've just got the plastic cover that sits on top. The plastic cover is to aid cleaning it really. Normally most of the muck will be stuck on the edge of that, and as you take it off, then it's not stuck anymore and it's easily removed. When it's on the actual magnet itself, it's quite hard to get off. Right, where the filter goes back on, we've got 2 seals to give them a little clean before it goes back on. Make sure there's no grit or bits, so we get a nice watertight seal. My hands are so mucky, I've just given it a little rub round with my finger, make sure it's all clear before reattaching the filter, which I will only tighten up hand tight. So make sure it goes back on as it did with the bleed valve on the top. You shouldn't be able to twist the filter left or right once it's on. It should sit on some sort of lugs that will that's it. So if you can twist it left and right, it's not on correctly. So once it's pushed on, look, it shouldn't, there we go, shouldn't be able to move it left or right. You should feel it locked in. And you can see the bleed valves on the top where it was when we started the job. So we're just going to hand tighten it. If you haven't got particularly strong hands, you can always give it a tiny little nip with the spanner, or like I say, the belt strap that I had, but not a lot. You don't need to over tighten it for sure. Right, I'm just screwing back the drain. Everything's hand tightened. I will nip that little drain fitting up afterwards, but to be fair, even that hand tightened is enough. So we are going to reintroduce the central heating water back into the filter by taking this anti-clockwise, so we're not bypassing the filter now. The filter is not being bypassed, and therefore the water will be going into it. You need to bleed the filter of any air to enable the water to come into the filter and obviously go around the magnet, and any of the magnetite black rusty water can be collected around the magnet and stops it going into your boiler, which is pretty important. I'm going to nip that, it feels pretty loose actually with my spanner, even though it isn't leaking. It felt pretty loose, so just a slight nip. You don't have to over tighten it. Quick wipe round with some tissue, make sure nothing's leaking. The pressure's dropped due to the water removed from the filter, so we're going to just top the pressure back up to just over 1 bar, and that's it, good to go. Thanks for watching.